Alright guys, here's a screencast to show you how to start your Skype meeting and run it. First thing you're going to do is you're going to have what you want ready to present kind of pulled up. So I would have the PowerPoint already pulled up and ready to go before we even start the Skype meeting. I would also have CTLS Teach already pulled up is ready to go as well. So I'm going to minimize those for now. We're going to have the PowerPoint and your internet browser with CTLS Teach pulled up. You're going to go to your calendar. There's really 4 ways you can join the meeting. You can either go to your calendar and push on the calendar invite. There's the Join Skype Meeting at the top. There's the Join Skype Meeting down at the bottom. And also you'll get a little reminder pop up too to join the meeting, a few minutes before. So any of those ways you can join the Skype meeting. I'm just going to push Join Skype Meeting up here. If you haven't already signed in, you'll need to sign in using your Cobb credentials. You're going to push OK to join the Skype meeting. So if you can, start getting set up about 15 minutes before, at least. Okay. Then I'm going to minimize everything and kind of get that out of the way for now. All right, so you've got your Skype meeting up. The first thing you're going to do...
Mommy.
1 second, guys. All right, so once you start the Skype meeting, you've already got PowerPoint and CTLS kind of ready to go in the background. You're going to want to record the meeting, okay? So if you go down to the bottom right, under More Options, that little ellipses, you're going to push Start Recording. And it'll tell you up at the top that it's recording. Okay. It'll also tell you down the bottom banner in the yellow. You can just X out of that. When you're ready to stop recording, you can go back to the ellipses and push Stop at the very end. And it'll tell you that it's stopped recording. And if you go to Manage Recordings down at the bottom, it'll show you that your video is processing, and later on when it's ready, we can publish it. Don't need to worry about that right now, but just know to if down the bottom is where you start and stop your recording and manage your recordings when you're finished. If you open up your Skype meeting and you don't see the start recording, I would completely close out of your meeting, go back to the join meeting, and re-enter the meeting. Okay, minimize all this. And then the start recording should be on there. Okay, if the start recording isn't there and you've tried several times, exit it and come back in, don't let that stop your flow. Just keep the meeting going. If it doesn't record, it won't be the end of the world. The other thing about the recording the meeting, let's say no one shows up, still continue your meeting, record your meeting even if no one is there, and we'll archive that recorded meeting for the people that didn't show up, okay? So that's how to record the meeting. The little I am button off to the side will let you see how to text to people. More than likely, you're not going to want people to have their video and their mic on, so you can mute them and tell them to turn their video and mic off. If they want to ask a question, they can turn their mic on and ask a question, or they can type in the little I am bubble off to the side. So that might be one of the first things that you tell people when they join the Skype meeting is say, please turn your video off, turn your mic off. If you have to ask a question, turn your mic on briefly to ask a question and then turn it back off when you're finished, or show them how to do the little I am off to the side, and they can type their question off to the side and you'll be able to see it. As people join, they can't see the I am conversation before they've joined. So they can only see the conversation from the moment they join on, just so you know. So I would keep the I am open so you can see it. I would probably kind of minimize the window so your Skype conversation is off to the side, and then I would present your programs one at a time. The first thing you're going to start off with is the PowerPoint that you have pulled up in the background. Okay, so it should be up at the top. If you don't see it, you can scroll down to find it. Mine's up at the top. It's going to say people will be able to see this. I'm going to press OK. And now you'll notice that there's a little orange border around that. That means that's what people can see. All right. View. I would go to view and then I do reading view. Okay. And I'd make that kind of big so people can see. And I would have your I am conversation again off to the side here so you can see if people have any questions. And then I would just start presenting the PowerPoint, you know, say a little welcome, say who you are, thanks for joining, blah, blah, blah. I go over your agenda, talk about the expectations. You could mention that, you know, we'll address CTLS Teach towards the end of the presentation. On your PLC dates, you can feel free to edit this chart based off of your particular grade level. I put all of them in there, but you know, you can take out middle school and high school if you're elementary and vice versa. So our PLC outcomes here, become well-versed in the balanced social studies instruction. That's on the next slide, so you can reference that. You could talk about how they should have seen this document on July 26th at Learning Engagement Institute. They did the 4 C's with this: connections, challenges, changes, and concepts. You could reference that and say this is a document that they should be basing their instruction on. And the future PLC dates, for example, these dates on November 7th, and January 2nd, those will be dates where they'll get more professional learning aligned to the balanced instruction document. The other thing is providing feedback on CTLS Teach, which we'll show towards the end of this presentation, and being able to participate in the communities for their grade level. Again, we'll show that towards the end. We want this to be a platform for them to collaborate with teachers from across the district and share ideas, and then to give feedback to the social studies leadership teams. That includes Trudy, me, other PLC leaders, about what their professional learning needs are. So we talked about this a little bit already. We referenced the July 26th town hall meeting a second ago. I was talking about the balanced instruction, what they should have done. The balanced instruction document is in that folder, and right now they can't see that, so I'm going to go back to present programs, and I'm going to present the town hall. So I might reference and say, hey, you know, remember in the town hall meeting that you accessed on July 26th, there's the balanced instruction document, the 4 C's routine. There's also instructions for accessing CTLS Teach, which we'll again talk about later in the PowerPoint. So you can reference that for them. I'm going to go back to Skype and now go back to presenting the PowerPoint. Another thing that we need from PLC leaders is great stories happening around the district for the academic website. They can submit those to Trudy. And on the next slide, I've just got a screencast of the redesigned district website, the social studies site, and you can see examples of stories on there. So we'd like to showcase their stories. We'll do a couple stories a month on there. Again, we'd like them to be able to use the CTLS Teach resources and communities. The courses contain teacher and student resources for the course. They're aligned to the course framework. The communities are a little bit different. They have additional teacher information, you know, district announcements, newsletters, professional learning. They're also a place to post and answer discussion topics for your grade and subject area. So right now, you could take the time to demonstrate the difference between courses and communities and take a little virtual field trip to CTLS Teach. To do that, again, you're going to go back to Skype and present the programs. Remember, you had CTLS Teach ready to go in the background. It might be under the town hall now, but I'm going to pull up my browser, okay, and just show them when they go to catalog and they go to courses. There's tons of different courses to pick from. They're going to want to star the ones that reference things that they teach. So if we're doing second grade social studies, they'd star that, and if they star it, then it'll now show up on their main page.
Oh, this is a big fish in the ocean, Mom.
So you'll be able to see now second grade social studies. They can view that course.
Mama.
The framework will be the first thing that they see. The little drop down. Show them how to use the little drop down carrots here, the little keys, where there's the framework and the standards down below the framework. They do the little drop down here under courses. There's teacher resources like the frameworks, standards, textbook resources, report card resources. Here's their rubrics for elementary and frameworks. Those are general course information. And I'm just going to, again, kind of restore it to a smaller size. Remember, you might have side conversations going on here in the IM, so you might want to keep that kind of open. Once they kind of look at the course resources, each link here, each unit is then in the maroon or purple tab here, and you can see the different units that they have loaded in here. So let's click our Georgia, for example. You've got the overview of the unit, the standards, which you can either click on the left here, or you can push the little arrow button down to see all the standards aligned to that unit. There's, again, the unit resources. And then each unit is divided into topics. And again, if they click on each one of these little arrows, they'll be able to see the information below it. Particularly, maybe want to point out the vertical alignment piece, which shows them what they should have done in the kids should have done in the previous grades, and then what they'll do in grades above theirs. There's vocabulary and evidence of learning, what they should know by the end of this topic. There's instructional strategies, which are, can be anything from lessons to graphic organizers. There's common misconceptions for students and differentiation. That's kind of the icing on the cake that will, some may have more than others in that. You could also use the little analogy for them that this is supposed to be kind of like their grocery store, where they can go and get different ingredients to put together into a recipe and meal, that would be appropriate for their school, for their students. They're not going to find tons of pre-made meals in here because every school is different. So we want to give them the ingredients they need to make a recipe or lesson appropriate for their grade level and their students. In the instructional strategies, there's topic resources, so additional resources, web resources, literature that they might be able to find in there, media center, videos. So by the end of the CTLS courses, you want them to have an idea of how to navigate the course, how they can look at the different units within the course, and then how each unit has smaller topics below it with more of the nitty-gritty information for each topic. If they go back then to the catalog and click on communities, the communities give additional information. They should be able to see under district their different district PLCs. For elementary school, it's just by grade level. For middle and high school, social studies, there's just one for 6th through 12th grade social studies. So if you click on the elementary ones, you'll see that it's broken down by subject area, and again, they'll be able to see additional materials for teachers. They'll be able to see the announcements and discussion topics. Right now there's more math discussion topics, but we'll be posting social studies discussion topics in there. For 6 through 12 social studies, their community is a little bit different than the elementary communities. This is basically all the Blackboard. All the stuff that used to be in Blackboard has been copied over into these communities. So for 6 through 12, middle school, high school, there's, grade level course information, but there's also more things in here than was in the course information. We've got DBQ stuff, we've got GIS stuff, the newsletters. Try to post the newsletters in there. And they also have discussion topics, which we haven't posted a discussion topic, but coming next month they'll see discussion topics in there. So that's courses versus communities. I'm going to go back down here to Skype and present my PowerPoint again. We took our virtual field trip to CTLS Teach. We'd like for them to solicit feedback from their teachers. I might have to change that date since the inclement weather pushed some of our Skype meetings till later. But we'd like them to take a look at this survey, get their teachers' feedback from the survey, and then submit it by the 20th, perhaps later. There'll be a drawing for a $5 gift card for those people who complete it. If you click on SurveyMonkey here, and again, I've got to go back to present programs, and I want to present it's just asking them basically what inquiry practices they need help with, and that's, I put the balanced instruction document here. So do they need help with raising questions, applying disciplinary tools, evaluating sources, or communicating conclusions? They can click on the ones appropriate there or specify different ones, different things they might need help with. What do they still need to learn in order to teach their new standards? So those are the Georgia Standards of Excellence. What questions do they still have about teaching the new standards? Again, this is where the content-specific questions can come in. How can we make this PLC as meaningful to you as possible? Your name, if they want to be entered for the gift card, and then what grade level. So again, if they'll submit that by the end of September, that would be helpful and help drive what the future sessions look like. Go back to present programs. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. This is the end of the meeting where they can type questions into the chat box, or that's probably be the best way instead of doing the microphone. And then if you guys will just collect the meeting notes, or sorry, if you'll just collect the questions in the Skype conversation box and turn them into Trudy and I, you can just copy and paste them into an email to us with the names of the people. We can get back to them. And that's pretty much it. So you can push the stop presenting, and I'll stop presenting. You can go back and remember, I'd already pushed the stop, but you would go back and push the stop recording, and then it will process the recording in the manage recordings box, and eventually you should be able to see that your recording completed, and then you'll be able to push publish. You might just want to do it to your desktop and push OK, and then it'll create an MP4. It says it's completed. So when I go now to my desktop, you can see the little MP4 here has now populated, and the little Skype meeting, and it'll tell you up at the top you now have your recorded meeting, and you can put those into a folder and share it with me. Okay, I've got too much stuff open here, so I'm going to X out. Alright, so that's pretty much the meeting. If you have questions, let me know. Again, that discussion topics issue, I need to post some discussion topics in CTLS Teach, because it says here, make use of discussion topics in CTLS Teach. You know, that will be coming soon, if not by the end of the month in November. I don't want to overwhelm them too much right now. No, but yeah, if you got specific questions about what to say or do, I'm happy to try to Skype with you individually to answer any questions you have about the PowerPoint. One thing I forgot to mention is you might want to tell people when you start the meeting that you will share this PowerPoint with them at the end of the session, and that you will also post the recorded meeting as well as the PowerPoint in CTLS Teach Community. Don't worry, I'll actually post it in CTLS Teach. You guys don't have to do that, but you can share it with them at the end of the meeting. And the best way to do that is in the IM box. So remember the little IM box over to the side. You can send them a file. So you would find the PowerPoint, you would attach it. I can't do it right now because I don't have anyone else on this Skype meeting. But when you attach the file, it'll come up at the bottom, and they should be able to see it in their little Skype IM box off to the side. So that's a way to share the PowerPoint through Skype. We'll also post the video and PowerPoint in the CTLS Teach community for their grade level or grade level band.